All right, guys, in today's video, we have some big next-gen news to go over and talk about. We're going to be discussing the Xbox Series S as it has been officially revealed, the price, the release date, all that good stuff. And we're also going to be talking about PlayStation 5 pre-orders because we have some very, very interesting news about that. So before we get into it, I'm going to ask you to please do me a favor, leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification icon as well. But starting here with the big news of the Xbox Series S, turns out that this is a real console. I think we all already knew that. And it turns out it leaked sometime last night. I don't know if this was a controlled leak or not. Some people are thinking it was. But either way, Microsoft decided to officially reveal it. And just to talk about the look of the console for a moment here, boy, is that not an aesthetically pleasing console. It straight up looks like a speaker. I will admit it is cool to see how small it is, but yeah, design-wise, it's really not that pleasing. I think it's kind of funny just how much it actually looks like a speaker. But either way, it doesn't matter. It could look like whatever, and you know, I don't think that's really what determines whether somebody's going to buy a console or not. But the more important things that were revealed are the price point. It is confirmed to be a $300 console, and the release date for both the Series S and Series X is going to be November 10th, 2020, which happens to be on a Tuesday, which I find interesting because I was under the impression that these next-gen consoles were only going to launch on a Friday, but it seems that that is not the case. So at this point, I do not feel comfortable trying to guess the date or the release date for the PS5 anymore, because it seems like it could be any day of November at this point. But what's also really interesting about all of this, I want to talk a little bit about the specs of the Series S in a moment, but I want to talk about the PS5 and the Series X because Microsoft has yet to officially reveal the price point of the Xbox Series X. And some people are thinking Microsoft is doing this intentionally to try and bait Sony, to get Sony to feel more comfortable to come out here and reveal the price of both of their PS5 models, so that way Microsoft can shock everyone by undercutting it, and the Series X will end up being less than $500. Now, we have Windows Central, and they're confirming via their sources, this was during the time of the leak, they were claiming that the Series X is going to be $499. Now we have to understand, the Series S being $300 is officially confirmed by Microsoft. The $499 price tag for the Series X has not been officially confirmed, but Windows Central is claiming via their sources that it will be a $500 console. And I want to take a moment to say right now that I do not believe for a second that this is Microsoft attempting to bait Sony. I think it was a leak, and Microsoft was not ready to officially announce it, or they were going to wait a little bit longer, but they said, you know what, it's already out there, the trailer's out there, everything's out there, we just need to confirm it. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were ready to confirm anything per se. That could be why we don't have the Series X price. The reason why I don't think they're baiting Sony is because it just doesn't make sense. If Microsoft's intention for the Series X this entire time was to go lower than 500, then they would have done it. They would have decided on that, and the Series S model would either be $199 or it just simply more likely would not exist because it just doesn't make sense. I've always anticipated a $500 and $300 dynamic. That seems to make the most sense considering the technology that is inside of these consoles. So yeah, I don't think that is the plan here. It seems much more likely to me that this information was just coming out at a time where they were not ready for it to come out, and they basically had no choice but to say, okay, we have to talk about the Series S right now because it's all out there in the open. That's what it seems like to me. But talking about the specs of the... also, I do want to say real quick here before we move on to that, the November 10th release date, it is seeming likely to me that the Series X and S, they're apparently both launching on the same date there. It will actually come out a little bit before the PS5, although I could very much see the PS5 launching that same week, because again, I don't think Sony wants to have that big of a gap. Who knows, maybe the PS5 could come out before November 10th. I'm just saying I think it's likely at this point that they're basically going to launch in the same week. I could very much see that happening. But talking about the specifications for a second here, Nibelian over on Twitter listed some stuff here based off of the trailer, that even the trailer for this leaked, and then I think they officially put it out there. But it's 60% smaller than the Series X, which is pretty cool. Has a custom NVMe SSD with 512 gigabytes. If you want to know where they had to cut cost, yes, the GPU is obviously where they had to reduce it dramatically to keep the cost under control, and that's why it's significantly less powerful. I think it's 4 teraflops of RDNA 2, but you look at the hard drive here, yeah, 512 gigabytes, that's going to be tough for a lot of people, especially considering this is a next-gen console. Next-gen games are going to take up more space than ever before, so that could be a big problem. Yes, you will be able to expand your storage, but still, you're going to have to pay to do so, and considering this is supposed to be the more affordable console, you know, it is what it is. They had to make some compromises, but it will ultimately be less than 512 gigabytes, considering, you know, the OS is going to take up some space. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on with that. It is an all digital console, so if you do opt in for this version, you won't be able to play discs. It says 1440p up to 120 frames per second, so that's not bad. I think they're making it pretty clear that this console cannot really hit native 4K resolutions, or probably even close to it, because it does say that it will feature 4K game upscaling. So that's pretty telling. I mean, they're just flat out saying, look, it can't really do 4K, it needs to be upscaled. I think that's expected. It will support ray tracing, 4K media playback, variable rate shading, variable refresh rate, ultra low latency, you know, some of their selling points there. So overall, it sounds like a pretty capable console. There has been some fear out there that a console like this will ultimately end up holding back potential game development. I don't know about that. I think that's something that we're going to have to wait to see. It is an RDNA 2 based console. It sounds like the CPU will be the same, or maybe just clocked lower potentially. There's going to be an SSD in there, so hopefully it doesn't end up holding back game development. I don't think it will, but it'll be interesting to see how this console sells. I'm going to be honest with you guys before we talk about the PS5 pre-orders real quick. I don't think this console is going to do nearly as much for Microsoft as some are anticipating. I don't know what Microsoft's expectations are. It seems to me that Microsoft doesn't really care all that much about selling consoles at the end of the day, but I just don't think that this console is going to do all that much for them. The reason why I say that is because at this point, it seems likely to me, and I would be frankly very surprised if Sony doesn't price the digital version of the PS5 at $400. I think it's very likely that Sony will do that, but I have a good feeling that just because of how popular the PlayStation brand is globally, and I know we're a PlayStation-centric channel, and some people may perceive this as me being some type of fanboy, but I'm just saying if you look around in general, there's a lot of excitement for the PS5, a lot. Globally as well. I think even the cheapest PlayStation 5 model, it being $100 more expensive than the cheapest next-gen Xbox model, I think it's still going to sell significantly more. I think the Series S will help the sales of the next-generation Xbox for sure, and there's also something else that Microsoft is doing with the Xbox All Access financing option. In fact, I think that's how this leaked, where it'll be $25 a month for the Series S model and $35 a month for the Series X. I think that's great, especially considering the economy and the way things have been going. But ultimately, I think this is not really something that is going to be that big of a threat to Sony. It could be. It's hard to say. We do have to understand price is very vital to console sales and how appealing a console will be to the average consumer, not necessarily the hardcore. So this is definitely a good move by Microsoft. I don't know if it's really going to be that big win that some people are thinking it's going to be for Xbox. We are going to have to wait to see how it plays out. But in my opinion, this essentially, I don't want to say this confirms anything because it doesn't, but to me, it seems very, very, very likely at this point that Sony will, at the very least, price the digital edition of the PS5 at $399 to attempt to compete as best they can with this $299 Series S. So yeah, very interesting stuff there. One last thing I want to say before moving on to the pre-orders, I apologize, but this is something that I'm really happy that happened, because this now means that Sony's going to feel much more confident in starting to talk more about the PS5 now that they have the Series S revealed and the price revealed. You know, any hope that Sony may have had of undercutting Microsoft is obviously out the window, but still, this gives them a lot more breathing room, and I think they're going to feel a lot more confident talking now going forward. But talking about the PlayStation 5 pre-orders, it says here, Game Guildford of all places set the internet alight earlier today by urging customers to stand by for updates regarding PlayStation 5 pre-orders. In a tweet, which has since been deleted, the UK game store claimed that Sony has scheduled an announcement tomorrow and that things are about to kick off this week. There have been some rumors relating to the PlayStation's 25th anniversary, which is tomorrow in the United States. However, Sony hasn't confirmed anything as of yet, and it's likely that whoever runs the above-mentioned retailer's social media account failed to check their sources. It's not impossible that we'll learn more about PS5 pre-orders this week, but this isn't necessarily proof. So I just find the timing of this very interesting. One of two things is happening here. This retailer accidentally said some stuff that they were not supposed to be saying. But we do have to understand that, you know, Sony did confirm yesterday not to expect any PS5 news, but they could have been doing this to kind of throw people off. You know, it's possible. We don't know, though. But the other option here, or the other possibility, is that they just made a mistake. You know, as this article says, that they just didn't really run it by their sources, and they were... Like, to me, what seems likely here, because this is coming off of another email we just talked about yesterday where another retailer was saying pre-orders are going to open up any day now. I know some people thought that I was reading into that too much, but it seems kind of obvious to me that retailers were expecting pre-orders to happen this week, to go live this week. And they may still. I mean, I want to be excited and assume that because the Series S was officially revealed today, that maybe now Sony is going to reveal something. We do have to understand one thing that is very important, and this is where I want to end the video. For those who were doubting that PS5 pre-orders would go live this week, because there's no way Sony would announce the price this week, just because we have the price of the Series S doesn't mean we have the price of the Series X, and because of that, Sony will still wait. You need to understand, Sony, or specifically Jim Ryan, did confirm they are willing to open up pre-orders without revealing a price yet. As ridiculous as that may sound to some people, Sony has confirmed this is something they will do, and they are ready to do it. So do not be shocked if we find out that pre-orders are going to be going live possibly sometime this week, but we don't know how much the PS5 is going to be. Look, let's be honest, it's not going to be more than 500. There's just no way. There's absolutely no way. I know that there's a little bit of doubt. Even I've expressed some doubt, but there's just no way. So yeah, a lot of really exciting and interesting stuff going on, guys. When I said yesterday that I really hope that, you know, Microsoft comes out here and says something first, because I feel like that would mean Sony would come out and say something. I didn't expect it to be the very next day from Microsoft, but I'm happy it is. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts about all this down in the comments below. Leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.